This video was made possible by the 𝐂𝐻 Creator Network. Hi everyone, it's Chrissie and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your first time watching. So today we are back with a very special and very exciting video. This is the first video that I'm sharing where I have access to the Sims 4 Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack. Now, before we get further into this video, I do just want to say that this video is obviously very much made possible by the Creator Network. Thank you so much to them for giving me early access to this pack and for giving me access to this unfinished version of the pack. So just as a little heads up for those of you that maybe are new to the channel or that haven't watched any of these like early access videos of mine before, but this is a totally different version of the game. So this isn't my normal Sims 4 game where I have all of my packs and, you know, all of that stuff. This is a totally separate game basically that's in my library. It is only the Sims 4 base game and the new expansion pack, and it is a unfinished version of the pack. So if you notice anything weird or glitchy or buggy or anything like that, then, you know, just remember it's an unfinished version of the pack of the game. And there are actually a couple of bugs and stuff that I know about that have been addressed and that will be addressed by the time that the pack actually comes out and everyone can buy it. But yeah, it's not final software, and that is also why my name, my 𝐂𝐻 ID, is actually floating around on the screen. I know it might be a little bit disorienting or annoying to have that pop around on the screen, especially because obviously this footage is sped up, so it moves around a little bit faster than it does in real time. But yeah, that isn't something that I can control. It's not something that I added. It is literally on the version of the game that I'm playing. Like, you know, it's even there when I open the game and play it myself. Like, it's just there. It's part of the game. I can't change it. And that is just something for, you know, privacy and, you know, to keep everything private, make sure that, you know, people can't leak anything, stuff like that. But yeah, so just a heads up about that in case you haven't watched any of these other like early access videos that I've done. So yeah, just a little heads up about all of that. But now moving back to the video. So like I said, this is the first video that I'm sharing with the new pack. It wasn't the first build that I did. I think it was like the third build that I did, maybe the fourth. But yeah, it's the first one that I decided to share in any case. And I am so happy with how this build turned out, you guys. I absolutely love this pack. Like, when I tell you I am obsessed, I'm not kidding. I did like 5 builds in the span of like a week, if I'm being completely honest. So the way that this whole process works is we get invited to be part of this, like, I guess you could say it's not like a beta test, but like it's something like that. We get invited to be part of this opportunity, and then we get a, like I said, a totally separate version of the game in our library at a set date or whatever, and then we have that for a specified amount of time at where we can, you know, obviously record things and record videos, record playthroughs, you know, whatever we want to do with it. And then it gets taken away basically. So then they remove it from our libraries eventually and we lose access to it. But usually at that point we have access to the pack in our normal games, or, you know, at least the normal release is coming up soon in any case. But yeah, so that's kind of how it works, and obviously everything is always embargoed and all of that stuff, which is why I couldn't talk about it before now, even though I really wanted to, because I really wanted to ask you guys for ideas or suggestions for things that you wanted to see. But I didn't think that I could do that without kind of making it seem like I had access to the pack already, so I decided not to. But yeah, so that's kind of how the whole process works. And I am so excited to finally be able to share these videos with you guys and finally get your feedback and your thoughts and things like that. So I won't be doing any sort of like overview videos or anything like that. Normally I might do like a world overview or something like that. But I know a lot of people will probably be doing videos like that, so I figured it wasn't worth me doing one, if that makes sense. And I also won't be doing like full build buy or cast overviews either, just because I don't usually do those. Like, I feel like whenever I do those, mine just drag on forever and they're just unnecessarily long and boring, so I won't be doing one. Instead, I will be focusing on actually doing builds with the pack and like, you know, exploring gameplay on my own so that I can talk about it when I do my voiceovers and tell you, you know, what I found, what I like, what I don't like, things like that. And also so that I can playtest my builds because, you know, that is also important. But the way that I decided to not the way that I decided to focus on, but the idea that I decided to focus on for this build was trying to experiment a little bit more with the new like small businesses lot type thing, kind of, that comes with this pack. So basically what that means is we can now finally have mixed residential lots, if that makes sense. So we can finally have like mixed use lots, I think that's the best way of explaining it. So we can have residential spaces and community spaces on one lot, which is really, really cool. And I love the fact that they kind of built on the for rent system with this. Obviously, when I was playing this for rent, I didn't have access to that, so I wasn't able to, you know, play around with for rent. And there's a lot of like behind the scenes stuff that goes into it. Some, you know, cross pack things don't work. Like you can't have I don't think you can have a residential rental and a small business on the same lot. I don't think. I could be wrong, but that is what I understood from my playtesting and things like that. But you can have small businesses on like penthouses. I believe you can even have them in like apartments, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be wrong, don't take my word for that one. But I believe you can have apartments on, like, not apartments, you can have small businesses in apartments, I think, if I'm remembering right. And obviously you can have them in any world that you want. I built all of mine in the new world, which, you know, that's just to be expected because the new world is absolutely gorgeous. I'm not going to try and say the name because I'll probably butcher it completely. But yeah, so I absolutely love the new world. It's gorgeous. I love all of the buildings and the colors and the build styles and everything like that. So yeah, I had a lot of fun building. So this build that we're doing now is in the more, I guess I'll split it up and say like the more industrial area, and then like I'll say the older area and the newer area. I think that's the best way of explaining it. But this build is done in the more like older area of the world. It's a little bit more traditional. There's a little bit more like colorful houses and more, I guess it definitely gives me a lot of like Amsterdam, you know, Netherlands vibes with a lot of the, it also obviously I think they are actually inspired by Amsterdam, if I'm remembering correctly. But in any case, I tried to go for that kind of like colorful build style with the like three-story buildings, and, you know, having all of these colors and the like roof shapes and things like that. I absolutely love the way this build turned out. Like, it is one of my favorites that I've done. And the way that I decided to do it is I wanted the first floor and the second floor to be kind of like community spaces, and then we have an apartment on the third floor, which I did already furnish. You guys just saw me finishing that, but it's just a small studio apartment. You know, there's no separate bedroom, but it's more than enough for 1 or 2 Sims to live in. It's all, you know, has all of the amenities, comfort things, all of that stuff. And then the rest of the building is taken up by the community spaces. So basically on the first floor we have a nursery, and when I say nursery, I don't mean like childcare nursery, I mean like plant nursery. So basically what I have there is a bunch of, you know, plants and things like that that your Sims can buy, and you know they actually will come in and buy them. I also have a small greenhouse off to the side where I figured Sims could, you know, grow flowers and sell flowers and things like that. Obviously I don't have access to the flower arranging skill because I didn't have seasons. But if I did have seasons, I would put a flower arranging table somewhere and have my Sim like sell their actual flower arrangements that they make using the flowers from the little greenhouse. That would be so cool. That is something that I would definitely do if I had seasons with this build. But yeah, so we have a little nursery downstairs. We also have a small bathroom for, you know, the customers, all of that stuff. And then on the second floor, which is what we're working on right now, I kind of have like a little pottery studio workshop type thing. I also have a little reading corner, and I have a like lecture hall space almost. So another fun thing from this pack is the fact that Sims can hold and attend lectures. And the way that you do it is you have that big whiteboard that Sims can use to hold lectures where they can teach other Sims various skills that they're very proficient in, or they can hire someone to give a lecture and then your Sims can attend to learn skills faster, learn new skills, all of that stuff. And what's fun is you can actually incorporate that into a business. So you can set one of your business, I can't remember what the word is, but like the activities that you do with your business, you can set those to be where one of your employees or your Sim or someone that you hire can hold lectures, and then Sims will pay to attend those lectures and like classes and things like that. So I figured in my head, the little story that I had is that the Sim that lives here or that owns this business, they run a small little cafe and nursery from the first floor. So I do have that cafe counter in there as well. That kind of looks like it also could act as like a register or something. But yeah, so we have that, and your Sims can obviously buy coffee and food and all of that stuff there. And then we have the shelves down here where Sims can, you know, buy things, buy plants, all of that stuff. And then upstairs we have the pottery workshop space. So I figured maybe 2 Sims live here, and one of them is very into like gardening and, you know, plants and all of that stuff. So they're mainly in charge of like running the nursery downstairs. And then the other Sim is really into pottery and crafting and all of that stuff. So they run the pottery studio upstairs, and they either like sell their pottery downstairs on one of the shelves or something like that, or maybe they make all of their money from holding lectures and teaching other people how to like make pottery and all of that stuff, or you know, something like that. I figured that would be a fun thing to do, and like a little fun thing to experiment with and like play around with, which I really did enjoy. I actually play tested this build and had my Sim holding a couple of lectures and like selling things downstairs and all of that stuff, and it all worked perfectly fine. It's actually fairly easy to get a hang of once you get the basics down and kind of understand what Sims will want out of a business. So yeah, it's actually fairly easy to, you know, get down and get working. It's not very difficult at all. It's definitely easier than the get to work retail system. And the fun thing is that Sims can actually hire their family members to work in their businesses, and it really does help a lot, because I know not for rent, what am I saying? With get to work and like dine out and stuff like that, you can't actually hire your Sims' household to work in like restaurants or retail lots and or like do anything like that. Your Sim can't even really work, I say in like air quotes, in those businesses all that well either. But with this one, you can actually have your Sims set your employees like work activities, and based on what you set them as, those employees will focus on those activities. And you can actually do that if you have your Sims hire their family members as well. They will show up in the little like employee tab, and you can manage their activities. So if you don't want to go in and like micromanage everything, you don't have to. You can set it like one Sim has to take care of all of the cleaning and giving all of the lectures, and then they will just go and do that. You can even do that with your, like, I say like main Sim that you're controlling. You can even give them like set activities or tasks that you want them to focus on, and then you can just leave them be, and they will actually just go and do what you set their task as. You don't have to micromanage every single minute of it, which is really fun. And I didn't play around with the whole system too much, but from what I did play around with, and I did playtest all of the builds and everything like that, they all worked perfectly fine. They all worked, and they were all fairly easy to run and manage. I didn't run into any issues or anything like that, so I'm really excited about this system. I didn't even notice any major bugs or anything like that either, which is like a really big plus, because a lot of the times these like experimental features, like having multiple types of lots on one lot, like for example this one has different areas to the build. That's part of the new small business system, is you have a community space, and like that you can set kind of the way for rent works, with where you can set like the spaces in the build. But you have like a community space, and then you have a space that's just for employees, and then you have a residential space. So I was worried that there might be a couple of bugs or glitches with that whole system, but from everything that I play tested and played around with, and I tried this with a couple of different styles of community lots as well. So obviously this one is like a nursery and cafe and pottery studio, but I also built a bar. I also built a couple of other like commercial retail spaces with residential spaces with them, and I didn't run into any issues at all. So that is something that is so cool, and I love this system so much, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in some of my upcoming videos, in some of my upcoming voiceovers, because we've kind of run out of time with this build. But I'll be sure to talk about it a little bit more in the upcoming videos and things like that, just to give you guys my like 2 cents on it and what I found I liked, what I didn't like so far, all of that stuff. But with all of that said, we are basically done with this build. We are basically done furnishing it. I'm going to go ahead and jump on into the game in a second to give you guys a little bit of a better look at the build and show you what it looks like in real time and kind of explain my thought process behind everything and all of that stuff. But yeah, with all of that said, I hope you enjoyed it. Let's go on ahead and jump on into the game and take a proper look at the build in, you know, the actual real-time build. Like, not build, game. What am I saying? Let's just go. Okay, so here we are with the finished build. And as you guys can see, like I mentioned in the voiceover, my name literally is just floating around the screen. It's even there when I play the game for myself. Like, it's just there. But yeah, this is our little, like, cafe gardening nursery build. I don't know what to call this, but yeah, this is our finished build. And yeah, like I said, the world is absolutely gorgeous. This is in the more like traditional older area of the world, old kind of like old towny area, and I love it. I love it so much. It's gorgeous. But yeah, it's built on the old Torget house lot. It's a 20 by 15 lot. It's registered as a small business residential. And then obviously it has all of the different spaces. I'm going to turn this on really quickly. It's the unit outlines. This is kind of the same system that we have for rent to set like shared spaces and then, you know, apartments. But this is kind of what it looks like in this sense, like with these parameters, or I don't know what to call this. I don't know what I'm saying. My brain is all over the place. But yeah, so the pink basically is the public areas. The yellow areas is employees only. And then the blue areas is the residential areas. So you don't need to have all of these areas on one lot. You don't need to have an employee space or a residential space or anything like that. But this is kind of just how I set it up for this build, because it's what I needed to make it function. So yeah, it's what I needed to make it function the way I wanted it to function, basically. So yeah, so coming in, we have our little like front area. We have a little fountain. I have a like, what do you call this, a street stall station set up in front, mostly just for decorations. I didn't think my Sims would ever use this. This is kind of just there as a, you know, little realistic touch. Maybe they sell stuff from out here as well, or maybe like if you had flower arranging, you could sell your flower arrangements outside, or you know, something like that. Kind of how flower stores sometimes have like displays outside. That's kind of what I was thinking. But yeah, there's also a little chess table, and then just a little small back space where we have some trash cans. I have some decorative bikes there from Debug, you know, things like that, just to make it look nice and kind of make it blend in as much as possible. But then coming in, we have our nursery flower selling retail space, basically. We have a little I wanted to say caffeine station. My brain, you guys. I don't know what's going on with me. Just ignore me. We have a little cafe area out here. We also have, obviously, all of the retail shelving. Now, the one thing I will say is that you do need to place these, like, whatever you want to sell, you need to place on retail shelves. So shelves like these stands, or you know, this big shelf, or even this, if you want to sell paintings or stuff like that, you need to place it on that. It's very different from the get to work retail system, where you manually select what you want to sell. For this, if you place it on a retail shelf like this, it will automatically think that you want to sell whatever you place on those shelves. But you can go in, if you go into live mode, you can actually click on one of these shelves and click disable sales, which means that whatever is on this shelf, Sims won't buy that. So if you wanted to have one of these things as literally just a decoration, then you can disable like sales on it and they won't try and buy what you place there. So that is something that is actually really useful to know. But yeah, so we have all of the sellable things down here, all of the, you know, flowers, things like that. I have a little greenhouse off to the side, like I mentioned, where I placed a couple of plants, you know, mostly just flowering things, but I also have a couple of like fruit stuff like blackberries and strawberries, things like that. But yeah, I figured the sim that owns this place would use those flowers to make their arrangements that they sell. You know, if we had flower arranging, which we don't. But yeah, and then we have just a little like communal bathroom for their customers. I used this door from the new pack that actually is supposed to be see-through, but it does have a couple of swatches that have this like frosted glass look, which I really love. I love that, especially for if you want to use it in like residential lots and you wanted to have it like into a bedroom or something, then you could use that, and just it looks very modern, very sleek, but you don't have to worry about, you know, actually seeing through the door the whole time. And it's great for stuff like this where you want to use it as a bathroom door as well. But yeah, going upstairs, we have our more like lecture pottery space. So we have our lecture board, we have a couple of pottery stations, we have all of obviously the kilns that they need to glaze their pottery creations. We have a little reading corner as well that I figured would kind of blend in with the little cozy cafe vibes that we have going on. Now, one thing that I do want to mention, this is something that I noticed in playtesting, but when I had my sim use this pottery station, they actually weren't able to grab whatever they made off of the station when they were done. And I think that's because it's kind of sandwiched in between these two kilns, and your sims, I think they need to access the station from the side whenever they grab stuff. I don't know why, it's kind of weird, but I had trouble having my sim grab stuff off of this table. So when I upload this to the gallery, I'll probably remove this station and just have 4 of them, because I feel like that's more than enough. But yeah, I will try and upload this to the gallery when I have access to my normal game and I have access to the gallery, because at the moment this isn't available in this build of the game. So I don't have access to the gallery, I can't save stuff to my library or anything like that, so I will have to keep my save files and then hope that they will work in my normal game, and that I can put them in my normal game, upload it to the gallery, get the tray files, all of that stuff. So fingers crossed that the build will work in my normal game, basically, is what I'm getting at. But yeah, and then the final part of the build, we have our little like residential area. So you come up, we have a little entryway over here that kind of is just, you know, just to separate the apartment from the rest of the place. I didn't want it to just be like open lofted area. So we have a little entryway. You come in, you walk straight into the little kitchen. I have my playtest system here as well. But yeah, you come in, we have a little desk area. We have their like closet space. I love this open shelving unit from the pack and the hanging clothes and things. So yeah, we have a little dressing space over there. We have our kitchen, which is a fairly nice size, if I do say so myself. We have a little coffee maker, everything you would need. We also have a little like sweets making thing over there that your sims can use to make sweets and candy and stuff like that. We have a little living room area with some seating, a TV. We have a fireplace as well, because I thought, why not? It fit in so perfectly. This is actually a base game fireplace that we got a while ago in a base game update. And then we obviously have our little bedroom space. That's, like I said, just a little studio. No separate bedroom, but I love the way it turned out. I love the colors with like the green and the beige and like neutral colors. I love it so much. But yeah, we also have a little bathroom up here with a shower, toilet, sink, all play tested. Everything works, obviously. But yeah, very normal, very basic. I also did remember to put in a burglar alarm, because that is now something that I will need to remember. Because we now have burglars in the base game. And do you guys want to help me keep count of how many times I will be building stuff from now on and forgetting burglar alarms? Let's keep a running count of that for the next couple of builds. I know I remember to put them in all of the builds that I did with this early access version. I know that. But in the future, help me keep count of how many times I forget a burglar alarm, because that is bound to happen. But yeah, so that is basically the whole build. The 4th floor is literally just decorative because I needed the roof to look a certain way. But yeah, so here's the floor plan in case you guys wanted to see it. I am so rambly, it's not even funny. But yeah, so this is the 3rd floor, the 2nd floor, and then the 1st floor as well, in case you guys wanted to see it all finished and see how everything is laid out. But yeah, with all of that said and all of that out of the way, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this build. Let me know what you thought about it. Sorry this voiceover is so rambly. Like I said, I am all over the place. And this is a combination of excitement, nerves, feeling slightly overwhelmed because I have a lot to do, and just real life stress. So I am all over the dang place. But even with all of that, I still hope you enjoyed this build. Let me know what you thought about it. And I will, like I said, upload this to the gallery as soon as I am able, if I am able to. Fingers crossed, like I said, that the save files that I have will work in my normal game when I have access to the pack. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you're excited for the other videos. Let me know if there are any other specific things that you would like to see with this pack, because there are a couple of things that I do want to play around with once I have the game in my normal game and I have access to all of the other packs as well. But if you have any bold suggestions or things like that, then definitely go ahead and let me know, because I always love hearing from you guys. I always love seeing your comments and hearing your suggestions and feedback. So yeah, definitely go ahead and let me know. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you all in my very next video. Bye everyone.